After 75, 99% of deaths are caused by these 5 mistakes. How to outsmart them? You know, there's something I've been thinking about lately. Something that's been on my mind every time I chat with friends over coffee or watch the grandkids play in the yard. It's this quiet question so many of us carry. How do some folks stay so full of life well into their 80s, 90s, and beyond, while others seem to fade too soon? It's not just luck, my friends. It's about choices, small, everyday decisions that add up over time. And here's the thing. After 75, research shows that 99% of deaths are linked to 5 common mistakes. But the good news? Every single one of them is avoidable. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Mistakes? At my age? Oh, I get it. We've lived long enough to know a thing or two, haven't we? But here's the truth. Life has a way of surprising us. Sometimes, the habits we've held onto for decades, or the things we've brushed off as no big deal, can quietly stack the odds against us. But today, we're going to flip that script. Together, we'll uncover these 5 pitfalls and, more importantly, how to outsmart them. Because growing older doesn't have to mean slowing down. It can mean growing wiser, stronger, and more in tune with what truly keeps us thriving. Let's start with the first mistake, one so common, you might not even realize you're making it. Mistake number 1. I'll see the doctor when I feel sick. Picture this. You wake up feeling a little off. Maybe there's a twinge in your knee, or you've been more tired than usual, but you shrug it off. I'm just getting older. You tell yourself. No need to fuss. Sound familiar? My neighbor, Harold, lived by that motto. He was the kind of man who'd patch up a leaky roof at 80 and laugh when we begged him to take it easy. But last year, he ignored some dizziness, chalking it up to a bad night's sleep. Turns out, his blood pressure was through the roof. By the time he finally went in, he'd had a minor stroke. Now Harold's okay today. Thank goodness. But his story shook me. Because here's the reality. As we age, our bodies don't always send loud, clear warning signals. That twinge or off day could be your body whispering, "Hey, let's check in." Waiting until you're truly sick? That's like ignoring a smoke alarm because you don't see flames. So how do we outsmart this? Prevention. Schedule those regular checkups, even when you feel fine. Find a doctor you trust, someone who listens, not just rushes you out the door. And here's a tip. Keep a little notebook by the fridge. Jot down any changes, a new ache, trouble sleeping, even shifts in your mood. It's not about worrying. It's about giving yourself, and your doctor, the clues to catch small issues before they snowball. Mistake number 2. I'm too old for all that moving and shaking. Now, let's talk about something we've all heard 1,000 times. Stay active. But here's where things get tricky. For years, maybe you've associated exercise with sweating at the gym or jogging miles like you did at 40. And if that's not your thing anymore, it's easy to think, why bother? But here's the twist. Movement isn't about fitness the way the world sells it. It's about independence. My friend Ethel, who's 82, put it perfectly. I don't do yoga to touch my toes. I do it so I can still pick up my cat. The mistake isn't avoiding marathons. It's letting fear or pride keep you from moving at all. Because when we stop challenging our balance, strength, and flexibility, we become vulnerable. Falls are the #1 cause of injury and loss of independence for seniors. But the solution isn't complicated. Start small. Practice standing on one leg while brushing your teeth. Hold the counter if needed. Try seated leg lifts during the evening news. Or join a gentle Tai Chi class. It's like meditation in motion. The goal isn't to be perfect. It's to keep your body familiar with movement, so it doesn't forget how to protect you. And don't forget your surroundings. Throw rugs might look cozy, but they're sneaky tripping hazards. Swap them for non-slip mats. Add a night light in the hallway. These tiny changes aren't about getting old. They're about staying smart. Now, these first 2 steps, staying proactive with your health and keeping your body engaged, are like laying a strong foundation for a house. But a house needs more than a foundation, doesn't it? It needs warmth, light, and care in every corner. And that's exactly where we're headed next. Because the choices we make beyond the doctor's office and the living room rug, they're the ones that turn surviving into thriving. You know, when I think about that house we talked about, the one with the strong foundation, it reminds me of my grandmother's kitchen. She always said a home isn't just bricks and beams. It's the smell of soup simmering on the stove, the sound of laughter around the table, the feeling that you're never truly alone. And just like a house needs warmth to become a home, we need to nourish more than just our bodies as we age. We need to feed our hearts, our minds, and the connections that make life worth living. So let's talk about the next two mistakes that can quietly chip away at that warmth, and how to reclaim it. Mistake number 3. Eating like it doesn't matter anymore. Have you ever stood in front of the fridge, staring at half a loaf of bread and a jar of pickles, and thought, what's the point of cooking just for me? I've been there. After my husband passed, I'd eat cereal for dinner more nights than I'd like to admit. But here's the thing. Food isn't just fuel. It's medicine. And when we stop caring about what we eat, whether it's out of loneliness, convenience, or just plain fatigue, we're playing a dangerous game. Take my cousin Martha. She's 78 and fiercely independent. But after her arthritis made chopping vegetables a chore, she started relying on frozen dinners and canned soup. They're easy, she'd say. But 6 months later, her energy plummeted, and her doctor found her vitamin D levels were dangerously low. Turns out, those quick meals were missing the very nutrients her body needed to fight inflammation and keep her bones strong. Now, I'm not saying you need to whip up gourmet meals every day. The trick is to keep it simple and satisfying. Stock your pantry with staples like eggs, canned salmon, and frozen veggies. They're packed with protein and nutrients, no prep required. Make friends with your spice rack. A dash of oregano or cumin can turn plain rice into something special. And if cooking feels lonely, invite a friend over once a week for a soup swap. You'll get leftovers and company. 2 things that nourish the soul. Oh, and don't forget hydration. As we age, our sense of thirst fades. Keep a colorful pitcher of water with lemon or cucumber slices on the counter. It's a small trick, but it works. Mistake number 4. Letting loneliness creep in. Now, let's talk about something we don't mention enough. Loneliness. It's a quiet thief. It sneaks in after retirement, or when the kids move across the country, or when you lose someone you love. And here's the hard truth. Feeling isolated isn't just sad, it's deadly. Studies show chronic loneliness can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It weakens the immune system, clouds the mind, and even strains the heart. My old friend Walter learned this the hard way. After his wife, Rose, passed, he stopped going to their weekly card games. Nobody wants a third wheel, he'd mutter. But months of solitude left him withdrawn and forgetful. Then one day, his daughter signed him up for a volunteer gig at the local library, sorting books for an hour a week. At first, he grumbled. But slowly, something shifted. He started recognizing regular patrons, sharing stories with the staff, even joking with the teens who came in after school. Last I heard, he joined a gardening club. Turns out, he told me, I'm pretty good with roses. The lesson here? Connection doesn't have to be grand. It's the tiny, consistent sparks that keep the fire alive. Call a friend during your morning walk, even if it's just to say, I saw the prettiest blue jay today. Join a book club, virtual or in person, or strike up a conversation with the cashier at the grocery store. And if leaving the house feels daunting, adopt a pet. My rescue cat, Mabel, may not play bridge, but her purring is the best therapy. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. But what if I've already let these habits slide? What if it's too late? Let me stop you right there. It's never too late to rebuild. Think of your health like a garden. Even neglected soil can bloom again with a little care. And the final mistake we need to tackle? Well, it's one that trips up even the most well-meaning folks. But trust me, once you see it coming, you'll wonder how you ever missed it. You know, there's a saying I've always loved. A mind that's curious never grows old. And isn't that the truth? Think about the last time you learned something new. Maybe a recipe, a song, or even how to video call your grandkids. That little spark of aha isn't just fun, it's fuel. It keeps the gears turning, the lights on, and the story of your life feeling fresh. But here's the catch. When we let that curiosity fade, when we decide I've seen enough, I've done enough. We're not just closing a book. We're missing the chance to write a whole new chapter. And that brings us to our final mistake. Mistake number 5. Thinking it's too late to learn something new. Let me tell you about my friend Irene. At 79, she'd always been sharp as a tack. Crossword puzzles before breakfast, teaching Sunday school, even tutoring kids in math. But after a bad fall left her housebound for a few months, she started withdrawing. "What's the use?" she'd say. "My best days are behind me." She stopped reading, let her puzzles gather dust, and spent hours staring at the TV. Within a year, her memory began slipping. She'd forget names, miss appointments, and repeat stories. Her doctor called it mild cognitive decline. But I'll never forget what Irene muttered to me. "Feels like I'm disappearing." Now, here's what breaks my heart. It didn't have to be that way. Our brains are like muscles. Use them or lose them. And when we stop challenging ourselves, when we settle into the same routines day after day, those neural pathways start to quiet down. But the good news? It's never too late to turn the volume back up. You don't need to learn Mandarin or master the piano unless you want to. Start small. Try a daily crossword or Sudoku. Dust off that old knitting project. Watch a documentary about something you know nothing about. Maybe black holes or ancient Rome. Or hey, take a virtual tour of a museum. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to stay interested. Because every time you wonder, how does that work? Or what if I tried? You're building a shield against stagnation. And don't underestimate the power of laughter. Play card with friends, tell bad jokes, or watch a silly movie. Joy is brain food. Now let's take a step back. Over these 3 parts, we've talked about 5 choices that shape how we age. Staying proactive with checkups, keeping your body moving, nourishing yourself with good food and better company, fighting loneliness with small connections, and finally, refusing to let your mind gather dust. But here's the secret. These aren't just tips. They're love letters to the life you've built and the life you still get to live. Maybe you're thinking, but I've already let some of these slide. Let me stop you right there. This isn't about guilt, it's about grace. Every morning is a fresh page. Forgive yourself for the steps you missed, and take one tiny step today. Call your doctor about that checkup you've postponed. Swap one frozen meal for a scrambled egg with spinach. Text a friend. "Let's try that Tai Chi class, I'll drive." And tonight, pick up a library book, even if you only read a page. Progress, not perfection. Before we say goodbye, I want to hear from you. What's one small change you're excited to try? Share it in the comments. Inspire someone else with your courage. And if this series resonated with you, pass it along to a friend. We're all in this together, learning as we go. Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this helpful, and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got plenty more conversations coming about travel, hobbies, grandparenting hacks, and yes, even dating after 60. Trust me, it's a wild world. So from my heart to yours, thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for caring enough to invest in your health, your joy, your future. However many candles are on your next birthday cake, remember, you're not just growing older. You're growing bolder, wiser, and more you with every sunrise. Here's to the next adventure, and to making it your best one yet.